Carmelo Anthony's mother and representatives have just finished a press conference, and I'm going to be brutally honest. If you are somebody who is in the camp of Carmelo Anthony is innocent and he needs to be set free, and this is all just a bunch of racist, evil people trying to crowd a black boy, you have to understand that that press conference was an embarrassment and did Carmelo no favors. From having the dad show up there of Austin Metcalf, I guess to want to hear what they have to say in living color, getting asked to leave, and then him still being there and then ultimately leaving anyway because I guess he just didn't want to cause any further chaos than what's already going to have to go on.
The father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
Through the guy who's speaking on behalf of the family, sitting there and blaming the school for not immediately canceling the track meet because of the rain, even though, with that being said, they were still going to be under that tent in the rain because they were still out there in the public. And I don't know if people were just waiting to see if the rain would pass or if the rain was going to get harder and then they'd make that decision. It would be on that interest to then cancel it. But again, they'd still be in the rain and you'd probably still have this interaction between Carmelo and Austin.
But Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Carmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation. That just shows me that Frisco ISD is trying to push off the blame. And what I have not heard the media say, as many media outlets have asked us what went on, I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research. Because as a person who is the administrator of your children, you are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off by making this decision that they do not have to make. So the Next Generation Action Network, outside of the legal process, will be going through different avenues regarding to ensure that we fight for the rights of Carmelo Anthony.
To this dude having a beef with somebody on Twitter because the person on Twitter is airing out his dirty laundry.
Sarah Fields. Never heard of this woman. This is the kind of despicable things that led to the father being here. Political operatives motivating this family with hate. Carmelo Anthony posted on something that shows, posted here. These are the type of lies that are threatening this family. Posting the family's picture. These are the type of lies. She's getting millions of views on this. Sarah, she's even came after me. She's even said all of those things. And now that the public knows exactly what is going on, I ask, because these racist bigots try to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Cal Rittenhouse had, Daniel Pena, and all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was. He should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Cal Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back. We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly, and nobody said anything. So since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family.
It was not really something you would watch in full capacity and think to yourself, this is what was needed for helping Karmelo Anthony. This was needed so that we could get back to what is really important, the facts of the matter. For some reason, Trump got brought up. There's also conversation from the representatives about how they're going to go after the Frisco school district for expelling Karmelo, because if you're somebody who has a student who ends up stabbing somebody and they get national coverage, you would tend to not want to have them affiliated with one of your schools, so you would cut bait there. But I guess that's a problem, so they're going to address that at a different time. We still don't have a trial date set for any of this, so any important details about whether guilty or not guilty, that's gonna have to come either weeks or months down the line. But I look at this press conference as a disappointment, because it should have been and could have been something where you just lay all the facts of the matter out and just cut through all the bullshit. Because if you comb through social media, you will find a lot of bullshit about GPAs, about cars, about houses, about everything under the sun, from fanatical police reports to, of course, as we've discussed, fake autopsies. And it's this fanatical fan fiction going around where nobody's really focusing on the truth of the matter. And we're just sticking to things that would make either a bunch of people further their conversation about him being guilty or further the conversation about him being innocent, and we're not really getting towards the truth. And this press conference was a fucking embarrassment. I feel bad that a bunch of people are getting their addresses leaked and they're being harassed because they're either tied to Karmelo Anthony by blood or they're the judge that reduced the bond, but people are not really consistent on how they feel about bonds being reduced in any capacity, and they're having to be harassed, and addresses are being broadcasted on social media, and people are running around thinking, haha, this is great karma. The FBI is investigating motherfuckers doing that, because why the fuck do you feel so comfortable broadcasting somebody's address online as if that's a smart thing to do? It's just, this was embarrassing. This was not something that was going to create a sense of peace or normality in a conversation of whether somebody used self-defense or not. And when he sat up there and tried to do the same thing the dad did, which was get everyone to focus on the truth, it was going to be a bombastic fucking failure, because that statement came after everything I already listed off. That should have been the first thing out of his mouth. We want to sit here and spend our time talking about what is true and go over each detail that has been brought up, broadcasted on social media, and everything that is fake and everything that is true. But no, we played the blame game first and then went to, yeah, we need to focus on actually not spreading any misinformation or not talking about this in any bombastic manner. Because as I said on the stream, when have you ever noticed that when someone gets on the internet and wags their finger and says, no, 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 all of the internet just complies? If I were to comb social media right now, immediately after this press conference, I would see people continuing to talk about this in the manner that they were talking about it before this press conference, but it's going to be amplified times 10 because they already don't like the dude who is representing these people in terms of getting word out on how they feel or what it is that their next step is. So they're going to be mad at that and also continue talking about you and how you're not really the best person to be around babies. And that was something I didn't know about when I gave him praise for being the only one with balls to go towards the police and ask some questions. So that's a little bit of my bad on my part. Maybe next time I'll focus more on everybody's backgrounds in the future. But all in all, as we end this and we wrap this video up, I need everybody to understand, whether if you're for Karmelo or against Karmelo, you're not gonna like my next statement because it's the boring statement. You're gonna have to wait. I understand the sensationalism of seeing something on social media and looking at that and saying, yep, that proves he's innocent, or that proves he's guilty. But This is all going to get brought up in court. There's going to be witnesses who try their best to recant the story. There's a video that has been confirmed and is in the hands of the Frisco police, which I really hope, and I know I probably shouldn't say this because nobody's going to agree. I hope it doesn't get leaked, because when it does, yeah, because I know it will, even though I'm sitting here saying that I hope it doesn't, I have a feeling that it will anyway. The conversation is going to be muddy because people are not going to focus on the full video. They're going to focus on bits and pieces and run with the narrative around that. It will be something that will be discussed in court, and based on all the evidence that is fact, not our made up fan fictions, we will either get a plea deal, guilty, or not guilty. And that's the only three options we really got. And when one of these things happens, there's going to be people celebrating as if they won the lottery, and there's going to be people crying that their fan fiction wasn't true. And at the end of it all, I'ma still feel bad for that dad, because that dad got on the news and just didn't want this to become a big racial or political issue, not really understanding how the rest of the world was gonna see this. And the rest of the world said, fuck you, buddy. We're gonna have fun with this till the wheels fall off. But let me know what you think about the press conference in the comments below. Did you think it helped? Did you think it ultimately made things worse for Karmelo? I'd love to hear what all of you have to say in the comments down below. I will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Subscribe. Goodbye.